The first step of drawing braids is to try and get in the different sections of the braids themselves. I'm not going to draw in every single braid strand, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to first map in the left and right edge of each braid. I am not going to try to do the shape of each braid, those little heart-ish shapes. First, I'm just going to focus on where the placement of those braids are. Remember to always work general to specific for this same reason. Then, once I know my placement is right, now I'm going to go in and try to get this shape. My braids are often a heart shape. It's almost like one ribbon is going underneath of another ribbon. Notice how right now what I am doing is I'm kind of drawing these heart shapes. Sometimes it's easier to go from the top, sometimes it's easier to go from the bottom. A lot of it's going to be personal preference, but you're going to see me do it a little bit both ways throughout this. Other braids might be more towards the side. You might not see the full heart shape. Sometimes you're only going to see just a little bit of it because it goes off of the page. I noticed on this braid that I only really see like half of the heart because it's kind of twisted to the side. Then when I go to do another braid, I might see just a little smidgen of it, or I might see that heart shape again. I'm just trying to place these in to their right placement. I'm also going to make them probably a little bit larger than real life. That's because the outline of the heart will most likely turn into the shadows and will appear to be a little bit smaller. Here you can see as I go through, I'm focusing on the big braids, but not focusing on the ones that are behind in the layers. If I can't see those heart shapes, I'm probably not going to draw it in at this point. Instead, I will make that with the background. When I go to shade it, the background, or these places that are further behind, the braids that are further back, they're really dark. So I'm sharpening up my 4B pencil and I'm filling in this area. I'm going to do all of these dark backgrounds. If there's a highlight, I'm going to leave that highlight and maybe leave a little visual texture. As you see me go through this, I'm really getting a crisp, clean edge, and then I'm kind of filling in that dark area next to it. Again, sometimes I'm just leaving a little bit of the area as a highlight. I might add in a little bit of scumbling, which is that circular little texture with a sharpened 4B pencil in those background shapes. Just so your brain says, oh, there's texture back there, there's just more layers of hair, you'll fill it in automatically. And you can see that a little more obviously in the section that I'm working on at this point. Now that I have all of the background done, I'm going to start going in and working on the braids themselves. When I do the braids, I'm not doing every single little detail of the braid. What I'm focusing on is where the braid tucks under another section of braid. So I will make that area super dark, and then it gets a little bit lighter as it goes towards the edges. I'm also going to leave it really pencil stroked texture. They're little lines. I'm not shading the whole thing in. If we zoom in on this, it's going to look really stylized. Do you see how those little dark divots are in the middle where they connect? I'm going to make that area super dark and let the lines just appear off of there. I'm keeping this real sketchy and textured because what happens is when you pull away from it or look at it from a distance, all of that will read as separate values. Then when I zoom back out, you'll see that the stylizing of this doesn't look nearly as sketchy as it does at this point in time. Here, my brain has filled it in so that it looks like light and dark values and a little bit of hair texture. After this point, I'm going to go through and continue this process throughout the remainder of my braids on this drawing, focusing on just where they overlap and where those shadows are going to be seen.